You're listening to Greetings from Austin. I'm Alisa.
And I'm Jenny.
We're here to share all things lifestyle, real estate, design, and more.
As Austin natives and agents with combined 28 years experience, we're excited to bring you new episodes weekly.
Thanks for joining us today. Our special guest today is Lindsay Durbin, owner of Homecraft Staging. Lindsay specializes in staging homes using items that you already own. She finds new ways to rearrange and optimize appeal. We're excited to hear all of the tips and tricks Lindsay has to share with us today.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, Jenny. Hey, Alisa. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. We're so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us today to share your staging knowledge. Would you start off by sharing a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. So, my first career was in nursing. I spent 11 years as a registered nurse before starting my staging company. It was at the recommendation of my realtor at the time when we went to sell our home in Dripping Springs, and he said, "Lindsay, you have to do this for a living." And I said, "Do what?" And he said, "Staging." And I was like, "It's a thing?" And he said, "Yes, it's a thing. Go get your certification and I will put you to work." So I took his advice and got my certification and launched my staging business in 2017.
Oh, amazing. I love that story.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what clients can expect when working with Homecraft Staging? Specifically, what are your options for consultations?
Great question. So, like you mentioned before, Elisa, we are the experts at what's called occupied home staging. So, we only work with clients who are still living in the home or who have the option to leave furniture until the home sells. So, we have two main options for our services. The first one is a standard consultation, it's what's referred to in the industry as a walk and talk style consultation, where we walk through the outside and the inside of the home. I always like to say that I give away the farm of tips and tricks and information and things that my clients can do to stage their home themselves using mostly what they have in the home. We also cover the not so fun stuff, like, do you need new weather stripping on your doors? Do you need power washing? And just some of those basic maintenance things that are kind of not so fun to talk about. It's an all encompassing look at the home. The second option that we offer is our hands on consultation, which is basically what it says. I bring my tools and we spend 3 hours together staging the home using the client's furnishings. It doesn't sound like it's a long time, but when you're making decisions, you kind of go through that decision fatigue, and we're moving stuff around and moving heavy pieces of furniture and kind of doing the staging work for the clients.
That's great. I like that you have different levels of, input and involvement from you guys.
Definitely, definitely. The hands-on consultation is great for if you get a last minute listing that needs to go on the market quickly for whatever reason, or some homeowners aren't very DIY. It's great to have a stager come in and just kind of do the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's great. It takes it off the realtor's plate, and that's nice that this is what you do every day, and so you specialize in this.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I can nerd out on this all day. So I'm so happy to be here chatting with you
Oh,
two
it's
about it.
amazing. How long do these consultations typically last, and who all attends?
Great question. So the standard consultation, the walk and talk style, lasts up to 90 minutes. We require at least one homeowner be present. I've also had the realtor sub if the client happens to be out of town. So at least one person needs to be present. Same thing for the hands-on consultation. We need one person present. Again, I've worked with the realtor before, a realtor's assistant, of course, with permission from the homeowner. And that one is a 3-hour consultation.
Mm-hmm. What areas do you cover?
So we actually can cover anywhere in the US. I've actually helped clients virtually. We do have a virtual consultation. It's not as common, but it's great for clients who are kind of out of our in person service area. So like Blanco or Lockhart, Luling, those kind of areas. I had a client in Gerald recently. So
Hmm.
the virtual option is great for clients who live out of the in person service area, but in person we'll go all the way to Georgetown, down to Buda, and then from Lakeway all the way out to Manor.
Okay. That's awesome.
And how do you do it virtually? Through FaceTime or Zoom or?
I use Zoom. So it's
Okay.
the same kind of setup. We will look at the outside and the inside of the home, and it's still a 90-minute consultation that we do over Zoom.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. I
Great.
like that you have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also a budget friendly option. It's the least expensive of the options because it doesn't require my time, for travel to and from the home. So it's also a good budget friendly option as well.
Hmm.
So, how do you share your recommendations after the consultation?
Great question. So, unlike other staging companies, who the industry standard is essentially to provide this long, what they call a written report. It's usually 8 to 10 pages long, and it can feel very overwhelming. What we do is provide our clients, including the realtor, with a brief 5-minute video recap. So, while I'm at the client's home after the consultation, I will walk through the home with my little video camera, and I will say, okay, I told them that they need to move this sofa out. I told them that they need to move this here, and just kind of go through visually what changes the client needs to make in order to prepare their home for the market. So we send over that brief 5-minute video recap within 24 hours after the consultation. That way, the realtor can feel included if they weren't present, and the client has a visual task list of what needs to be done. I also have a printable form that they can print out and use to jot notes on while we walk through the consultation. And it has a bunch of examples and guidelines and is broken up into each room as well.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Amazing detail.
Hmm.
And I love that you use video so well.
Yes, yes, we are big believers in video. I think it probably comes from my nursing experience. Really believe knowledge is power. So we offer welcome videos as well. So if you are looking to schedule an appointment with me, no matter what kind, we send over a welcome video, and it kind of tells you what to expect during the consultation. So they're not going in blindly. They know what to expect when I arrive at their home. And then, of course, the video recap afterwards.
Excellent.
That's awesome. So, as you're walking through, I know you give suggestions and sometimes you ask that clients remove things. Where do you recommend that they store those items if you do want them to be removed for staging?
Sure. So I like to remind my clients, one of the things I say often is, we are selling your square footage, we are selling your counter space, we're selling the features of your home. So we do ask that a lot of things be removed. I take a big roll of painter's tape and just kind of tag the things that need to be moved out. So again, clients have a visual reminder of their homework. And I like to err on the side of what is affordable and what's doable. Not everybody can afford to rent a storage unit. So my default is, if they have a garage, I'm fine with them using their garage for storage, as long as it's tidy. So you can have boxes, you can have some furniture out there, as long as it's tidy. We don't want somebody going to open the garage and not being able to walk in the garage and kind of turn around and come back. That's what we don't want. Also, friends, neighbors, if they have a ton of stuff, I suggest storing stuff at a friend or neighbor's house. And then, of course, off-site storage is always an option as well.
Okay.
Excellent. Do you ever recommend a client purchase additional items?
Yes, although I'm very thrifty at using what clients have, we've done some crazy things over the years using what clients have. There are some recommendations. Usually, every home has some sort of recommendation, and I'll tell my clients, it might sound very cheesy. I might have you purchase a few cheesy things like some faux greenery arrangements or some new bedding or pillows. But it's only because I feel like it's really going to help increase the overall appeal on your home. I tell them, don't think of it as money wasted. Think of it as an improvement, and an increase on the return on investment. You're going to get that money back. Sometimes they do have to make larger purchases. They might have to replace all of the dated builder grade light fixtures in their home. They might have to replace all the shiny gold, plasticky brass doorknobs in their home. So we talk about all of those things as well.
One of my favorite things when we were talking on the phone before today was your recommendation for garage door hardware that's magnetic.
Yes.
I'd never even
Yes.
seen it. I didn't know it existed.
Yes, yes. One of my go-to recommendations for a plain garage door.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like $20 on Amazon and
oh my
they're
gosh.
magnetic and
I
they make it
never knew
fancy.
that existed either.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
Yes,
cool.
it's a game changer. If you go and look up magnetic garage door hardware on Amazon and go to the reviews, you can kind of see some of the befores and afters, and it's amazing. I am pretty sure they even have faux windows that you can put on the garage. I've seen that in some of the reviews, but I think it looks kind of cheesy, so I've never really
Yeah.
delved further.
Oh, wow. That's so neat.
Yeah. The hardware, like you really couldn't tell. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
Neat.
Okay, so if you do recommend that people purchase a couple things, do you also provide specific recommendations for where they purchase those items?
Yes, I do. So over the, 5+ years that I've been doing this, I've kind of gotten good at where to get things. I'm very thrifty. I grew up very thrifty. So I think I just kind of have a knack for saving money, which is good for clients preparing their home for the market because who wants to spend a lot of money? So my recommendations are usually very budget friendly and I know, where to get pillows. I tell them what size to get. If they need pillow covers, I will tell them what size to get. I carry a little tape measure in my pocket during the consultation as we're going along as well. So I never leave them empty-handed without them knowing where to go to make those purchases.
Quick question. Do you, for if you recommend light fixtures, do you have anyone that would be able to install those that you recommend?
Yes, that's an excellent question, Jenny. I have a vendor list, and when all of my clients, no matter the type of consultation, schedule an appointment with me, they get an automatic email sent to them with a link to my helpful staging documents, which includes my vendor list. I have a wonderful handyman that I recommend, who is available to help install, and I also have a kind of go-to selection of light fixtures that I recommend, during the consultation. So I've kind of got it all set up for them.
Oh, I love it. I
That's
love
really
how
not.
organized you are.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thank you.
Can you explain your 3 Ds of staging?
Yes, I actually just did a blog post about this
Hmm.
recently. So my 3 Ds of staging are declutter. So one of my rules of thumb is to remove anything smaller than a cantaloupe because it's just going to look like clutter in your photos. So knickknacks, collections, and things like that usually need to be packed away. Depersonalize is the second D. So no matter how cute your kids are or your family is, go ahead and put those things away. I had a realtor several years ago kind of argue with me and say, no, we need to leave the family pictures up because it shows that this is a family room. And I tried to tell her like people will get that impression like it's not it's a distraction issue. Like your family is
Absolutely.
probably so cute. They're going
Uh-huh.
to be distracted in looking at your personal photos instead of the features of your home.
Yes.
So definitely depersonalize. And then lastly, the final D is deep clean. So for me, I have a very good house cleaner on my vendor list. After doing the decluttering and depersonalizing, I would personally err on the side of hiring out the deep clean to the professionals, but it's definitely an important part of the process nonetheless.
That's great.
Totally
That's an
agree.
easy way to put it all together and make it memorable and simplify the list a little bit.
Yes, and Alisa, I love what you said, like in a previous podcast about your grandma who said, if your floors aren't clean, your house isn't clean. So I so agree with that.
Yes, such a good tip from her. Okay,
Yes.
so when you're preparing your home to sell, the list can feel never ending. Even if you do simplify it into those 3 steps, if clients are overwhelmed, where do you recommend they start and what areas are the most important?
Yes. So this, although it's only 90 minutes, with the standard consultation, this is kind of information overload. So you're correct. It's certainly normal for clients to feel overwhelmed after this. But I always say, take it like my mama always said, like you'd eat an elephant one bite at a time
Mhm.
and kind of break it out into pieces. So the two main areas to really focus on inside are the kitchen and the primary suite. So those two areas kind of sell houses all day long. The living room would be third. And then, of course, curb appeal is kind of the asterisk over here. Like, of course, the curb appeal needs to look great. It's usually the first photo online. If that photo doesn't look great, there's no incentive for people to keep scrolling and look at the rest of your home.
Mhm.
True. Or even if they drive up, and I've had it, I know we've both had it where they might not want to go in.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that story of the Jenny, of your client who didn't want to go into the home, but ended up, you kind of encouraged her to go in, and then she ended up purchasing the home and loving
Yes.
it. So that's
Yes.
great.
Yes, she was sort of in a bad mood that day, and I just said, "Look, I think there was a family in the house," and I said, "I made them leave. We need to go in.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, we have to go see it."
Yes, good for you.
Yeah.
Those first impressions, I feel like they really do
Yeah.
matter a lot
Yeah.
in real estate. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
in your experience and your clients, how does staging impact the process of selling your home and the overall outcome?
Great question. So, National Association of Realtors put out a survey for 2021 recently, and their statistics said that it's easier for buyers. 82% actually said that it's easier for buyers to visualize a home whenever it's staged. As a general rule, people are not imaginative. You kind of have to spell it out for them. So, I mean, you two both know that vacant homes tend to sit on the market longer. So, a staged home can definitely help kind of spell it out for buyers. Also, it's really hard for people to look past your personal things. So I think it's really important to have an unbiased third party, like a stager, go in and kind of, like you mentioned before, Jenny, kind of give some of the not so fun news, and give an unbiased opinion of what needs to be removed. I had some clients last year actually who had very risque boudoir pictures all in their home, and they were a very attractive couple. And I said, you guys, I would take these down, and they didn't listen to me. They put their house on the market.
Oh
They
my
took like
gosh.
none of my advice, which you can lead a horse to water, can't make it drink.
Right.
But they ended up not taking down their photos, and the house did not sell. And a few months later, the realtor called back and said, "Can you please come back out again, do another consultation, and really drive that point home?" So we did, and they still didn't take it down. And their house spent so long on the market. So, even having the third party come in, sometimes people just won't listen. But I think for people who really take our advice to heart and really kind of embrace the selling process, their house spends less time on the market and typically sells for more money.
Yeah. Which feels extra important right now in our market that's changing and becoming a little bit harder for sellers than what we're used to.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Oh, and the last point I wanted to make too is like, every home is every home deserves at least a consultation, because even if it's a very dated home, I had a home recently that was like straight out of the 70s or early 80s, and even with all of their stuff, we did actually two hands-on consultations there, and even with all of their dated items, it looked so good after we were finished, and it got offers immediately. So I mean, even homes that you might think, like this looks kind of cheesy, it's not going to sell anyway, we can actually do a lot with what people have.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's great. Are very talented
Hmm.
Oh,
to be able
thank
to
you.
do that. Yes.
Yeah, I've been following
Thank
her
you.
on Instagram and her before and afters are awesome. They're very satisfying. I love them.
Oh, thank you so
They're great.
much.
Yeah.
We both very much appreciate design.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, what are your three favorite or most common staging recommendations when working with clients?
Yes, it was hard to narrow it down to
Yeah.
3, but Alisa, you already mentioned one of them, magnetic garage door hardware every day. I
I
love that recommendation. It's $20 at the most. You can get really fancy with it. You can get very thrifty with it, but magnetic garage door hardware will jazz up any plain metal garage door. My second one is light bulbs. I am such a light bulb tyrant, if you will. So during our consultations, I we check all of the light bulbs. Do they all
Wow.
work? Do they all match? So one of my biggest pet peeves, and you two probably know this too from MLS photos, is I can't stand it when there's a bright white next to a soft white. It stands out like a sore thumb in the photos. So we go through and we check all the bulbs in the home, make sure that they're operable and make sure that they match in tone and brightness. So my last recommendation is not so glamorous. It's window washing. Never underestimate the power of window washing. It just can really turn the appeal around of the home. It can let more light in on the inside. The more light that comes into the home or to the room, the bigger it feels. And at the end of the day, we're selling that square footage. We want it to look nice and big and open.
That's great.
and back to your light bulb, I like that. That's on your top 3 list. The I don't know what they're called, but when it's the wrong lighting,
Mhm.
um, two things. When it's the wrong lighting, it almost seems like it's a hospital or a commercial light.
Yes.
That bothers me, and I think buyers don't like it either. And also when it takes a while, I think they're like energy efficient, when it takes a while for them to come on. And so when someone's just
Hmm.
quickly looking at the house, turning on the switch and looking, it's a dark room because it takes a long time to come on. So that I think that's huge to have the right lighting.
Mhm. So,
Definitely. That's a good point.
do you have a color recommendation for your light bulbs?
I do. So I usually recommend at least 60-watt soft white. I'm with you, Jenny. I do not like the bright white kind of blue light. It looks very clinical. I do have one realtor who is a big fan of like the bright blue light and it like goes against my brain.
Yes.
I still
Yeah.
can't recommend that to his clients. Like I know he loves this,
I
but trust me.
I knew someone that just remodeled their house in Westlake and oh, they did such a beautiful job. But the can lights they used, I could not believe it was that crazy off. And I just don't know how nobody else was noticing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or hey, if they were, maybe they weren't saying anything. I don't know.
Right.
Right.
I agree. Like the worst is when you have someone that has two different light bulbs in the same area where you see the difference. But the second worst is that blue artificial
Oh,
light. Hmm.
yes, totally agree. Yes. Oh, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people buy pillow covers that aren't the correct size. So, and IKEA is horrible about this. I hate their pillows. So, if you have, let's say, if you have an 18 by 18-inch pillow, you do not want to buy an 18 by 18-inch cover. You always want to buy a pillow cover that is one size smaller than the actual pillow. That way, your pillow feels nice and full. So, if you have an 18 by 18 pillow, you want to buy a 16 by 16-inch cover so it doesn't look all limp. I can't stand limp pillows.
So, and
That's
I
awesome.
just went through this because I was buying pillow covers from West Elm and then Pottery Barn and trying to fill, but I messed up because I did the right size. But another thing that I noticed is the fake down versus the real down.
Oh, mhm.
What do you recommend? I realize
Excuse
I
me.
think I like the real because it can, fluff better or bend out, how
Sure,
they do the bend down of the
Hmm.
pillow.
sure, the karate chop.
Yep.
Is that
That's
okay?
what I do.
Okay. I like that. Did you know that?
Elliot does it. My
Okay.
4-year-old does it on
Oh,
his bed because he sees me do
you
it all
have
the
your
time.
son trained.
Yes.
Oh, cute. That's so cute.
Yes.
Yes, I love a good karate chop. I think it just comes down to personal preference. If you like your pillows really robust, then sure, like order the Amazon, faux down. But if you like your pillows a little bit more comfortable and, squishy, and you like a good chop, then definitely the real down is probably a better option for you. But,
Yes.
another thing I always tell my clients too is there's a difference between selling and dwelling.
Yeah.
So if if it looks good for photos and looks good for staging, that's great. If you just want a budget friendly option, no matter if it's pillows or bedding or whatever it might be, as long as it looks good for your photos, and for staging, that's kind of all I care about. I've had several clients who will go and purchase things from the store or from Amazon, leave the tags on or leave the packaging, and then just send it back. So,
Oh,
um,
no.
just use it for staging. So yeah, not saying I recommend that, but yeah, that's just another
So I have a
another thing that I've noticed
question.
people do.
I'm assuming you do. I remember my other stager would do this as well. People loved their work so much that they would go to their new house and help them set it up. Do you do that?
So I used to, but I
Okay.
no longer I no longer do that
Okay.
anymore. I found that it was taking away time from what I really enjoy, which is
Okay.
the home preparation and
Hmm.
kind of finding ways to get creative. But if you want me to help you order a new sofa, I am not your gal. Because again, I kind of am good at making it look great for staging. But if you're going to be dwelling and you're going to be living on it, then I'm going to refer you to one of my friends who does more design work.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, she was telling me when we talked on the phone though that she has a really good list of stagers that do all different things and they kind of work together and refer together if
Hmm.
they're not a good fit.
Yes.
So I really like that. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome that you kind of each have your specialty.
Yes, there's one in particular, because we don't do any vacant staging at Homecraft. We only do occupied. So me and my go-to vacant stager, we are in communication at least 2 times a week, sending referrals back and forth. So
Oh,
I'm just
awesome.
so glad to have a good network of stagers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, it's becoming more and more important in this market. Maybe for a while you could just put it on and not do anything, but for sure, staging is, I would say, probably next to pricing is, the most important
Hmm.
thing on selling
Oh,
your home
so
right
yes,
now.
so refreshing to hear you all say that. Yes,
Yeah,
super. I'm obviously biased. I think it's super important, but
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
awesome. Well, I think that's great. I
Yeah,
think,
thanks so much for coming
yes,
on.
yeah, we really appreciate it.
yes. Thank you both so much for having me. This was a first for me, and it was so much fun.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and share all of this valuable information. Where can listeners find you online, and what is the best way to reach you?
So you can follow us on Instagram at Homecraft Staging, or you can send us an email at hello@homecraftstaging.com. And our website is homecraftstaging.com, where you can learn more about our services and see some of our videos. So yeah, we hope you'll check us out.
Yeah. All right. We'll also include Lindsay's information in the show notes and we'll be back next week.
Thank you both so much for having
Yeah,
me.
of course.
Yeah, we enjoyed learning from a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you have a real estate question you'd like for us to answer, all of our contact information is in the show notes. If you aren't in the Austin area and need to be connected with a real estate professional where you are, we can help with that too, so send us a message.
We're located in the Austin area and licensed in Texas under Realty Austin. While some of this information could apply to where you live, be sure and talk to a local agent in your area. Visit the show notes for more information and additional disclosures.